Dear Mr. President,
Which would you prefer us students in America to use?
Technology or textbooks?
We're here in American Canyon Middle School, where they believe that technology is a more useful tool for a better learning process than textbooks. So here are some words from the school's assistant principal.
What would you prefer for your child's education, electronics or textbooks, and why?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of books and textbooks and novels and things. So I think I'd like my children to have a lot of rich reading material to do. Books, articles, textbooks, and sometimes you can find these things also through the internet. So I think that could be a tool. But I think we should only use like the internet or computers if it's really helping us get the reading material that we want, and not just using what happens to be there because we've decided that we're going to use computers instead of books. In terms of textbooks, it's a little early to say, but I think there could be an interesting future for electronic textbooks for a couple reasons. It could ultimately be cheaper for schools and help us reapportion some of our resources from the paper textbooks. And if the publishers do a good job, we're waiting to see what the interactive possibilities could be with those electronic textbooks. What the experience would be for students, I think, is also important. So I think we should pilot these things and get a sense of how they actually work for the students, because they may sound really fancy, but if the student's experience with them isn't very positive or practical, then that's not going to be a good thing either. So I like the idea that students are going to have rich reading materials, and I think we need to look into and pilot and see what the future is going to be for the interactive powers of electronic textbooks.
How do you feel about our school using electronics and how they're used?
I think it's important to remember that electronics are just a new way of, to a large extent, it's just a new way of putting things on paper and sharing information. It doesn't, the activities of learning, however, aren't really changing that much. We still need to learn a certain amount of information in order to be good critical thinkers, in order to deal with the problems that our future is going to present to us. I think young people are going to have a lot of challenges in the future, in part because of all of our technologies and environmental concerns and things like that. And I think that students, the most important thing is that students need powerful learning. And having lots of fancy gadgets is not a replacement for that.
Do your children use electronic devices or books?
My children use books, and my children are young elementary school age children, and they read a lot right now, and I think that's the best thing for them, to have a strong, build a strong understanding of narrative and also nonfiction reading, and build a strong vocabulary. And I'm fine with them reading in books, and I think there'll be time for them later to learn technology if that's valuable for them.
Did you grow up using electronics or books?
I grew up using books. I started using a really old version of a word processor only when I was in, I think, the end of college or in graduate school. So even in college I was typing papers with a typewriter, believe it or not. You know, I think the computer's nice for writing things. It makes it a little bit easier. But I grew up, even all the way through college and graduate school, for the most part, most of the material that I learned from was from books, and I used the resources of very large university libraries in order to get all the information that I did for my research and my learning.
Do you still prefer using the style you were taught growing up?
Yeah, I'm still very attached to books. I get paper newspapers. I do not read my news online. I don't know why. I guess I find computers kind of cold, and I don't like using them that much. And I find the content often is kind of watered down. So I still prefer books and print.
seriously?
What do you prefer for school, technology or textbooks?
I prefer technology.
What do you prefer for school use, technology or textbooks?
I prefer textbooks because it costs less money for the school. If you have to buy your own tablet, it's going to be it'll be harder for the parents to pay for it. You got to pay for insurance. You got to buy textbooks online, so you're paying for both. You just use tablets.
What do you prefer for school use, technology or textbooks?
Technology.
Yeah, technology probably. Why?
Textbooks get outdated. Tablets, you can like update them.
Yeah, it's like an infinite pool of knowledge, basically.
What's your opinion on learning off electronics?
You know, I just believe kids these days are on electronics all the time, and I think we have to tap into those digital devices that they have in their hands all the time. We have to create schools and classrooms where we're allowing kids to bring technology to school.
How do you feel about our school using the tools?
You know, I think American Canyon Middle School is really out front of our whole district, Napa Valley Unified. American Canyon Middle School is showing our other middle schools up in Napa how to bring electronics and text and digital devices into schools and use them in really authentic ways, like you guys are doing right now. So I'm just so excited about what's happening at American Canyon Middle School.
What would you prefer for your child's education, electronics or textbooks, and why?
I think it would be great to have both, that they could have the option to have both. Some kids might want to have the textbook so they could go back and highlight and mark it, and other kids might work better on electronics. So I think it'd be fabulous to have both.
I think it depends on the child's learning style. But I do like both as well. I think electronics are nice because you have to be able to utilize that in order to be out in society and in the work population.
Right.
And so I think learning that at an early age is a good thing. And I think there's a lot that you can do with that. So I think it gives you more options.
How do you feel about schools using electronics?
I think it's great because everywhere you go now, everybody's using electronics. Every business you go to, it's a computer, or wherever you're going to have a job, even in high school, it's a computer or something. So I think kids need to learn how to type and use electronics. So it's yes.
Yeah, definitely. That was the one thing I was thinking about is the typing. They have to know how to type.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's great.
Would you put your child in a school with electronics or without?
I think for me, it would just depend on my child. I have two kids in high school, and one just completely loves the electronics. So I think it just depends on the child. But I'd love to have that option.
Here's some questions we asked local citizens around our area about their use in technology and to rather have technology or textbooks.
Tablets or textbooks? Like technology, like computers, or
Tablets. I would say a tablet.
Probably tablets.
what do you prefer, as in technology, as in computers, or textbooks? Textbooks.
Textbooks, but computers are easier to, you get more information in less space.
What do you prefer, technology or textbooks?
Oh my goodness, that's a trick question. I would have to say, you know what, textbooks are really, really awesome, but the internet has a lot more, how do you say, a lot more available. Yeah, a lot more information available.
Broadband simply means high-speed internet. It's good to see all of you have this level of knowledge because guess what? Broadband is the most transformational new technology since electricity. It's changing not only the way students do homework, not only the way people do their jobs, but virtually every aspect of our lives. The opportunities of broadband, internet, wired, and wireless are almost limitless. Just imagine, a student anywhere can have access to the best libraries, the best teachers, the best tutors in the world.